What's up? Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the H-Town Huddle. It is a Wednesday night, just like we do it almost every Wednesday night, except for last week. Was a little tired, but we got through it, right? But we're here to talk about the Texans, just like we always do. Fantasy football isms on the way. All Houston Texans all the time, but we will be talking about their previous opponents and their matchups. Got a great game this last weekend. Texans got into the win column. They're facing an opponent they've had trouble with in the past this coming weekend. But guess what? These guys are also struggling at the moment. They are 1-3, and they're dealing with a ton of injuries. So we'll talk about all of that. We'll talk about the recapping of all the fantasy goodness. We'll talk about a little Toy Story character that I know everybody has questions about. So we'll get to all of that and more here on this episode of the H-Town Huddle. Sit back, enjoy, get a beer, get a drink, a non-alcoholic, get some popcorn, get some lemonade, whatever you got, by you. And let's get ready to enjoy, this renewed energy that we feel after the Houston Texans finally get their first win of the season.
I'm Texas forever.
All these structures make me anxious. Look, I'm just trying to f you, not them hoes you came with. Pull up on 6 so loud and banging. Yeah, Texas forever, still twisting my fingers. Texas forever, you speaking my language. Look, all in the day, but for Wednesday. Out in the field trying to score me a deal. Put my name by that X like I'm Kimbe. I do it off of my team, just a young covered in green like I'm Dende. We ain't compadres comprende. Clutch city, crush city, whatever you call it. I stay with my friends, stay hands in, never hand out. Look, I had to go get it, my everybody say I'm the man now. Wrist moving in and out the kitchen. My might pull up on 6 in the whip, whipping it. I'm just a young getting it. All I had was the pot, I was pissing it. Now everybody want pieces, percentages. I'm just trying to get my niggas over. I did the work that these want. All this money, cash, cars, clothes, hoes, coming in fast, but I'm sipping slow. Cause it's Texas forever. You already know. It's more down there.
Texas forever.
We are in like sin, and that is in the win column. That's what I'm talking about. Texans finally getting the win over the lowly old Oilers, Tennessee Titans out there, and that sorry group of ball players that they got over there. Dropped Calvin Ridley in all my fantasy football leagues before this weekend, left him out there as a landmine for everybody, and lo and behold, people picked him up, and he clogged, part of their roster on the bench this week again. I think he'll continue to do that throughout most of the season. Eric Elomaner, or whatever his name is, Aomaner, on the rise out there. So probably the only person I'd be interested over there. Tajay Spears on the way back. So that's how their running room is shaking out over there. But hey, let's take a look at the chat. What's going on? My man, Ear to the Streets. Take a gander, folks. Take a look. Write it down. Put a little note. Put it in your calendar. Mr. Lee, the Ear to the Streets, will be live this Friday with the Chargers Power Hour. So be on the lookout for that. Bookmark that. That's going to be some fun times. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, Peanut Butter Jelly. What's going on, man? Yo, what's up? Sir Bongs a lot. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Crispy Bacon. Let's go, man. Good waves, cool vibes. We are on tonight with the Huddle Vibe. What's up, GWN? My man Bogart in the building. Ghost Monkey. Either we play each other this week or you whipped my ass last week. I can't remember. But I know that we were in a league or two, and that's what ended up happening. I don't know. What did Nico Collins score last week in half PPR? I'm not sure about half, but we'll run down in some of those right now in a bit. He had a pretty good game, second week in a row with over 79 receiving yards, if I'm not mistaken. Looking good out there, actually. Even when the Texans offense was struggling mightily, he was the lone bright spot. So he does look pretty good right now. He's still an auto start, in my opinion, no matter who they're facing on defense. He might move into like a flex category, flex situation if he has a tough matchup. But, other than that, he's wide receiver 1 locked in most of the way. Damian Pierce getting traded to the Cardinals. Now that's interesting. That you bring that up. That I hadn't heard any of that news, but that'd be something that the Texans should consider doing. That they have got kind of hit the injury bug over there in Arizona. I personally made the move after I was sitting in a deposition today. People were picking up DeMarcado in open waiver leagues, and I was just like, what do I do? I was like, oh yeah, they have Michael Carter there. Maybe he's the self-proclaimed starter, so who knows? Maybe he'll get some good run and you get lucky, right? With Benson on the IR for 4 weeks, Connor out for the season, Arizona, could be looking for some running back help. And since Damian Pierce has been a healthy scratch, you have the emergence of our Toy Story character. We'll get into it in a bit. Of course, that's obviously Woody Marks, who had a great breakout game this last game. The Texans could have room to move a guy like Damian Pierce if the price is right, obviously. Running backs are kind of hard to come by. I think Damian, has proven that he could be a valuable asset, at least even in the return game, or, a spare running back, right? So given the opportunity, he's shown in the past that he's been able to handle we're far removed from that rookie season where he kind of, was able to handle his business. Hasn't really returned to form. But like I said, still an interesting piece to try to move there if the Cardinals are really looking at. Looking forward to that, Lee. Looking forward to that. That's not the name of his show. That's what he told me, and that's what's on the graphic. You got to get with him on that one. Love the aesthetic. It gives me Truman Show vibes. Yeah. We're in the bubble, Brown. We're in the bubble. So yeah, let's rewind. Bring it back since we missed last week. Going into the Jaguar game, wasn't feeling good personally. Like, I was just tired, really heavy work weeks lately. Since I returned from Vegas, I've just been kind of picking up the slack for everybody, and had another long one today and pause and another long work day tomorrow. So almost didn't want to do this show today, but the energy I received from the Texans getting into the win column has pushed me through to this point. So here we are, folks. Glad I could be here with y'all. Missed y'all. Do miss talking about the football. Do miss talking about the Texans. And didn't really have much to talk about. Like I said, going into the Jaguar game, Texans didn't really show much. The main focal point had been the defense and how strong the defense had been. So let's go to some media presentations, see if I can share what we're going to do today. It's going to be real informal. I'm just going to go through a bunch of stuff I bookmarked on my X feed, and then we'll take it from there. But obviously we'll start with some of the cool stuff, like the injury report, right? So this is just recent. I didn't even talk about hold on, let me go back. I didn't even talk about the Jaguars. Sorry about that. So yeah, 17-10 loss. It was 10-10 going into the last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter. Nico Collins is trying to fight for extra yards inside the 15, does a spin move. Jacksonville Jaguars defense is actually really good at taking away the football from their opponents. They're probably, I think, leading the league right now in takeaways. I picked up, Wingard or Winfred, the DB out there, because that guy, I feel like every game has a takeaway by himself. Saw him come up with a strip and recovery last week or 2 weeks ago. So he is now starting in most of my rosters as of last week. If you play an IDP, that is the Jacksonville Jaguar. Let me get his name right. Where do I have him? I have him in the West Side? No, not in the West Side. No. Have him in the 32. I got him somewhere. Yeah. Wingard. Andrew Wingard. So yeah, 9 tackles, then only 2, but he had an interception, then 6 tackles, and then 5 in another fumble recovery. So a very opportunistic defense. So check out your Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't think that after 4 weeks that they're a fluke. I think that they're being coached really well to rip away at the football and do really good things over there. So keep those guys on your radar a little bit. Other things from that game, Brendan Strange kind of did his thing in the tight end department versus the Texans, which, Texans, I think, are susceptible to pass catching running backs and tight ends on defense. Other than that, I think they kind of funnel you to that. They're like, go ahead and beat us with your pass catching scat back, which, really typically actually ends up hurting them a lot when the second running back is pretty good. And then I've also seen, them being beat by tight ends as well, plenty of times in the past. But like I said, kind of a funnel defense. They have a great pass rush and really good secondary, so it's hard to really pass on them. They've kind of shut a lot of the top receivers down lately, and they've done a decent job versus the run as well. Talking about the Texans defense, man, just tops in the league. We'll get to that in a bit. Let me see what's going on here. The Jacksonville Signal Steelers. Yeah, well, that's one game, right? And if they're stealing signals across the league, across their opponents, then then yeah, very opportunistic defense. Might as well pick them up, right? And try to play some of those players who, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? That's the deal there. So what is going on with my hair? It's like flipping out. I got out of the shower and was doing some weird stuff. So let's stop messing with it. There we go. All right. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. The Jacksonville deal, Liam Cohen, and all that drama that happened after that game last week, if you guys are keeping up with that. So a lot of stuff going on in the NFL, a lot of storylines, a lot of cool stuff. It's really kicking into gear. We've got 1 month of data or data, depending on how you do it. Some people say potato, other people say potato. No, they don't. But anyways, Jacksonville, Never Lawrence doing his thing. He actually had a pretty decent game. And on the other hand, like I said, the Jacksonville defense, very opportunistic, took the ball away twice, at least through the air. In that game, CJ Stroud, and then the fumble recovery, so didn't have a great game for CJ Stroud. They were able to bounce back, they'll put it all together. I think Bashaw Tootin got in the end zone on after one of those takeaways, or it was a penalty, it was a penalty on Derek Stingley in that, and they brought it down to the 1, and Tootin was able to score. And like I said, the Texans were on their way to winning that game before Nico Collins fumble, and then the defense kind of unexpectedly, I think, just gave up too much, and and Jacksonville did a good job of actually punching the ball into the end zone and not allowing any time left, or much time left on the clock for the Texans to work with. So another close game that they lost. They weren't the Rams defense. The Texans are working through things. Ed Ingram is still out, and I think that with the return of Ed Ingram this last week and playing well on the offensive line kind of being cohesive. I think he was present in the Jacksonville game, but they're just starting to get that going. He was there preseason. He's an interior part of that offensive line. It's integral for them to kind of mesh and play well together. And you saw that, I think, this last game, the second week in a row, with the whole starting unit doing what they were doing. And then, of course, it's a get-right game, but they were able to run the ball much more effectively. And you kind of saw spurts of that in the Jacksonville game. Didn't run as much as they wanted to, didn't run a lot of plays. That game was kind of weird all around anyway. But in respect to the offensive line, though, gradually improving. It doesn't seem like it. I know that there was a play this last week in which CJ Stroud was probably the fastest quarterback in history to get sacked. And if you go back on that, I think he changed the protection, and either that's on him or the guard or the center didn't hear correctly or something happened. There's some sort of miscommunication there on the check of the play, and then that's why that happened, right? So a miscommunication, not necessarily somebody just getting beat. There was an assignment missed there, and that's why that ended up happening. But that's going to more of those growing pains with CJ Stroud kind of coming in and learning this offense and getting used to it, being able to check into different things and do stuff. But gradual improvement, and you like to see that. Hold on real quick. Let me get myself organized. So yeah, we're back to the injury report. I don't know if I want to jump around that way. Let's do this. Let's go to my first pinned stuff here. See if there's anything to clean up with Jacksonville, so we can move on to the good things that we saw from Tennessee this last week. Oh, so here's a nice little snippet play. DJ Gardner-Johnson is no longer, or perhaps no longer, in Houston. That happened. I forgot to mention that. He did get released by the Houston Texans, which I thought was kind of like a weird move. They traded for this player, make a big splash. He wasn't blitzing enough, according to him. And so, once you're out there and you're talking a lot, he was kind of vocal in the locker room, vocal in with the media, a little more brash than most of the Texans players. Texans players don't necessarily talk a lot. They kind of do it more with a play style necessarily. But anyhow, seemed like the locker room fit dynamic was a little bit off there regardless. He is a dog, and kind of the style, the kind of player that they do like on the field, but I don't know if his off-field persona was, not rubbing people the right way, or the fact that he was being vocal about the way that he was being used. And so anyways, they just kind of let him go, and they did the same thing with Laken Tomlinson as well. So that's just a little odd for me. I'd rather they kind of keep key pieces, or see if you can trade them for, much more than what they gave away or got back for these guys necessarily. So that's just my little nitpicking with that. So there was some roster movements. I think that they signed a guard and another tackle. So we'll see how that works. But yeah, yeah, moving on. Oh, I was going to show this really quick. See if I can do it. Man, brain is not working today. It's usually not working this late at night after a long work day, but we'll get to it. So, okay, so CJ Gardner-Johnson, if you can see my cursor, he's up here on the top half of the Jaguar's ear. And let's see if we can fast forward through some of this. There's the cursor there. So yeah, the way this play breaks off, you're supposed to play it from the inside out. And what ends up happening is this guy ends up running his route, towards and breaks off towards the sideline. And CJ's supposed to still keep dropping back deep at the deepest. If somebody crosses his face, he's supposed to stay with that. And so this is really the big, huge play that broke the game open here for the Jaguars and allowed them to score, at least in this particular drive. And so this is just one of the reasons why for his on-field play, if you look at it here, they're the two receivers at the top of the screen. He's supposed to stick with, if the guy comes straight and he's going to run a vertical past him, he should help inside. He is a safety. He has no business going towards the outside and breaking in on that route, especially with the guy looming right behind him. And you have your corner out on an island, basically now, having to deal with this guy over the middle while CJ's preoccupied with that outside route. So, as this progresses, he basically picks the wrong player. He is that Travis Hunter or Brian Thomas? One of the guys, I think it's Brian Thomas, lets him go basically free over the middle of the field, and allows Trevor Lawrence to look like a complete, awesome quarterback. So here's the wrong break, the read, no inside help, and it allows for a big play, puts a lot of pressure on the defense, basically sets up a score. So that's one of the reasons why. And you see Kamari Lassiter looking back like, hey, bro, you were supposed to help me out there. So that's one of the main reasons why he's probably not around anymore, And now he will pursue a career of gardening Johnsons. Gross. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think that there's a thing in a way where he couldn't be picked up by Philly again or whatever. They'd have to sign him after he cleared waivers or whatever. I have no idea where he's at right now. But good luck to you, CJ Gardner-Johnson, who took John Mechie's number in a weird ass way. He was pretty adamant about that too. I don't know if he was the reason why Mechie got traded either. There's just been some weird roster moves lately. I guess when you're losing, everything goes under the microscope as well. So, but it is what it is. That was one thing. We talked about CJ Gardner-Johnson. Okay, so here we go. Oh, yeah, there's that rep that I was talking about, the offensive lineman. Well, here's a fantasy question posed by Fantasy Pros. Which running back would you rather have the rest of the season? Kendre Miller or Woody Marks? So I think right now the obvious answer for most of us, and we're on a Texans podcast, I think it's Woody Marks at the moment. But my brother-in-law in my home league put it in the chat today. He's like, I hope Kamara gets traded to a contender. I don't know what he said. And I was like, who's going to trade for Kamara? And also, you're in our league, we get return yards, and Kendre Miller will not be returning anymore. So he's probably better off with him becoming staying a returner in that positional role or whatever it is, because if he becomes a quote unquote workhorse for the Saints, I don't know if he'd return value like he would as a returner in a league that gives you return points. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But personally, I'm on the Woody Marks side, and yeah, so Woody Marks, Jaquavius Marks left his mark last week. Had a really good game, breaking out, coming out party. 69 yards through the air, nice, and a touchdown. 69 yards on the ground and a touchdown, and another receiving touchdown as well. We'll go over his stats in a minute, but let's see what else we have here. Here's D'Amico Ryans. He's very impressed with Woody Marks. This is him mic'd up really quick, and he's basically impressed with Woody's moves. He's impressed with Woody's moves. He's saying, look at that Woody go.
18. Handoff, Woody.
Yeah. So anyways, the handoff to Woody. I don't like the announcers coming over the back, but I just want to hear Here you go. Here's D'Amico. Here we go. Damn it. Yeah, he's like, look at that move. Anyways, I just wanted to get that little soundbite in there without, getting us screwed up. But, yeah, Woody Marks played well. Jaden Higgins caught a touchdown as well this last week. So love to see the rookies kind of coming up and getting more play, especially since they've been showing out. So you're getting more Woody Marks instead of Dario Gubernwale, who was horrible. I think in his pass pro protection, he was probably like one of the worst graded running backs in pass pro. So it actually made no sense to even have him out there on the field on third downs anymore. And there's a great play that I think I clipped, or I'll be able to show you guys in a second here, that where Woody Marks picks up and decleats and completely pancakes a blitzing Titan defender. So yeah, it's just good to see that. Good to see Ariante Aerostreet playing well, still playing pretty well. They, like I said, they traded Cam Robinson away. They let him go or whatever it is. I think they got like a 7th round pick, or no, Laken Tomlinson has also been benched, or he's been playing less. You got Juice Scruggs out there. So you have a kind of a changing of the guard here in week 4 for the Texans. Like I said, does that mean that there's a new RB1 in town? Most likely. I mean, Nick Chubb does not have the juice. I don't think so. Yeah, it's definitely Woody season. Pause. I love that. Woody and Chubb, man. That's the best. All right, so the Texans defense after 4 weeks looking really good. And here we go. These are some of the graphs I was telling you about. Presented by Peacock right there up on top. But fewest points allowed in the NFL entering week 5. Texans with 51. Then you got Denver Broncos, followed by Seattle Seahawks. Leeds Chargers at 71. It's a whole 20 points more. The Jacksonville Jaguars, I said, are no joke on defense. And the Arizona Cardinals actually were pretty stout there as well. Excuse me. So, yeah. Coming up to this week, though, we'll talk about that when we get there. Let's keep talking about the Tennessee Titans. Woody Marks, going into this game, though, I got to mention it. Okay, he's going to face a Ravens defense that's allowing the most yards and fantasy points to running back. So I can't help but smile and be optimistic about this game, but we'll get there when we get there. I just want to finish talking about Tennessee here in a bit. What up, King D, LBC? Appreciate you, man, for joining the chat and stopping by. What up, my man Song? What's going on, dude? What's up? Woody Marks to the moon. Yes, sir. Good times right now. Good times, honestly. I don't have enough Woody Marks. I only got a couple. Unfortunately, I have a lot of Higgins and Knoll, but because I was thinking Mixon was going to play this year. I didn't think Marks was going to get around to it maybe until the second half or maybe the last quarter of the season. But look at where we are. We really need him, and he has juice, and he was a good back in college, and it's kind of transferred at least this last week into the NFL. And you're giving him a couple of times and a little bit of time and some reps to kind of ease into this over the course of the month. And I think that he's grown into this, Woody's grown into this role and done very well. And I think that the confidence is there as well now. So Woody has had his coming out party. Yeah, it's going to be fun all season if Woody continues this kind of trajectory. So it's going to be good for fantasy. It's going to be good for the Texans because we didn't have much to talk about other than Nico Collins and how bad the offensive line was, right? And just the defense is really good. So who texted me? Oh, okay, cool. Just making sure it wasn't the wife saying I was being too loud or something. But we're good. There's a snake in my boots. Yeah, that is definitely the Woody Marks drop. Hold on. I have a picture for this guy. I think I got one. There it is. We'll upload that right now. That way, whenever I'm talking about Woody Marks, you know who I'm talking about. There he is. All right. That's going to be so fun. So, oh yeah, if you didn't like people in Houston, if you didn't love Woody Marks enough already, hold on. I have a picture of Woody Marks this last week during the game. Here it is. I have a couple of pictures. Yeah, let's see. Sorry, bear with me. Sharing the screen. This is courtesy of Houston Stressens. Great follow. So here's Woody celebrating. There's Christian Kirk in the background. But if you zoom in, enhance. What's that? He has a grill on his mouthpiece? Enhance. Yes, sir. That's a little Texan helmet on his mouth guard. That's what's up. So if we didn't already love Woody Marks, he's definitely from the H. He's giving the Houston vibe. So you got to love that. Gotta love that. Yo, Guru, what is up, my man? Spencer the Guru in the building, folks. If you don't mess with Spencer the Guru, you should follow him. Make sure that you are checking out his YouTube channel. When this guy goes live, he is dropping all the Guruisms. Good buddy of mine right there. And been chilling out, hanging out, doing the watch parties with Papa Guru as well. So good stuff, man. Great stuff from the Guru family. Appreciate you for dropping by, brother. Where were we? Oh, yes, we're wrapping up the Titans game. But yeah, love that. Love that from Woody Marks. You love to see that kind of thing. Great stuff from the kid. Let's see. So in week 4, Nick Chubb versus Woody Marks. Nick Chubb had 13 carries for 37 yards. It was only 3.62 yards per clip. And then he had 2 receptions for 15 yards. But if you look at Woody Marks, obviously, with the coming out party pause, 17 carries for 69 yards. Nice. That's 4.06 yards per clip. 4 receptions of plus 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. So the takeover has definitely arrived. That's courtesy of Sleeper NFL with those stats, obviously, because that's where we get all of our stuff when we go back and look at these things. But it is what it is. D'Amico Ryans, when talking about Jacksonville this weekend, I guess we can finally turn the page, unless there's some other things. Let me see. This last week, Cam Ward didn't look good. We know about that. Yes, sir. Shout out to the Guru family. Cam Ward did not look good, has not looked good, unfortunately. Not a lot of fantasy assets out there in Tennessee, but they can suck it because it's Tennessee. I'm just glad they didn't try to wear the Oilers jerseys on the road this time. Maybe they shouldn't bust those out at all this year. Just saying. But L'Jarius Sneed, talking a lot of shit, said that he didn't know who Nico Collins was before this game, apparently. I don't know why he would do that, but, I mean, both teams are 0-3. I guess he's trying to fire himself up or fire up the Titans, but all he did was get 79-plus yards from Nico Collins. Definitely knows who he was. It was a 2nd and 33, or 3rd and 33. They needed 33. C.J. Stroud sees Collins beating Sneed one-on-one, and they get 37 down the sideline. And I think if his momentum didn't take him out of bounds, he would have outraced him to the end zone for a huge score, which I would have needed. It would have just taken me right over the edge in the home league to get me at 2-2. Didn't happen, but my opponent got that from DK in the early window, but whatever. When DK never does that, but you can't complain. Yeah, it is what it is. Fantasy's a fickle bitch. It is. But talking about Ursery, lowest pressure rates allowed by rookie O-lineman in week 4, minimum 15 pass protections. Will Campbell, 0 from the Patriots, nice. Torricelli Simpkins from the Saints, don't know who he is, 4.2%. Ariante Ursery from the Texans, 6.3%. Then Gray Zabel, a guy that I was really hoping they would draft back in draft season, 6.5%. And Josh Connerly, who was kind of on my radar, also 6.5% playing over there in Washington. But I think Ariante Ursery is kind of coming around, and considering that, he's kind of thrust in that position right out of the gate. We thought he was going to maybe take a year to kind of get there or whatever, or play maybe on the right side, inside or something, and then move over to whatever. Anyways, all that scrapped down. He is your starting left tackle. But shout out to Will Campbell, man. The only rookie O-lineman to allow 0 pressures in week 4. But Ariante Ursery, man, at only a 6.3%, looking good, improving, I think, every week and getting better. And that's, those are the positive things that you got to take. We'll take them, because that any improvement on the offensive front in the trenches is a good improvement for our fantasy purposes, and getting some of these other pass catchers maybe into some flex positions. We'll talk about Christian Kirk being on your bench or a cut candidate, depending on the size of your league. But it is what it is. He did receive a lot of targets, so I'm just saying it depends on the size of your league. I wouldn't necessarily make that move. Texans offense could start ramping up. We see Woody Marks open things up, and we can get some of these other pass catchers involved, right? But that being said, the Texans offense is 29th in the NFL in points per game at the moment. And their opponent this next week, the Ravens, are currently 3rd. So flip opposite right? Complete polar opposites, not so polar opposites on the offensive spectrum. But if you flip that over to the other side of the field in the defense, Texas is first in points per game allowed. You saw that on the graphic. The Ravens are 32nd. So complete ends of the spectrum there. The immovable force meets an unstoppable object and vice versa. Or versa, however you want to say it, right? So despite being 1-3, the Texans have only allowed those 51 points right through those 4 games, which is the fewest in franchise history. But they've joined the 1974 Cowboys, who were 1-3, allowing only 12.5 points per game, as the only team since 1940 to allow fewer than 13 points per game in their first 4 games and still have a losing record. So we know the offense needs to tick it up, and they did. They scored 26 points this last week. I know it all kind of came in the fourth quarter when they opened the floodgates there, but CJ Stroud mentioned something that 37-yard pass when that happened at the tail end of the third quarter that, it kind of just clicked, and he likened it back to couple of years ago versus Tampa Bay, I think, when he connected with, or was it Arizona? When he connected, it was either Arizona or Tampa Bay. I think it was the Arizona game earlier in the season when he connected with Tank Dell on a broken play. And then after that, he said things just kind of clicked and the offense started moving and working well. And we saw that in this game, connected with Nico Collins. And then all of a sudden, things started opening up. He looked a little fresher, play calling. He was able to get them into the right kind of plays. And then Woody Marks kind of took off. And when you're running the football very well, the play action was starting to open up. Easy, rewarding touchdown for Woody Marks after him running the ball and getting him all the way down there, and they were able to pass it to him on that play and get an easy 18-yard reception touchdown because all the defenders' eyes were in the backfield because they were running the ball so well. And they went, I think, a jet sweep motion with Hutchinson or one of those other guys, and that was able to just suck the defense in enough and allow Woody Marks room on the outside. His touchdown run was amazing in itself. He has great moves, great vision. He can squeak through blocks. When there's not a lot, he gets skinny and he can get by blocks. And that's really important for an offensive line that kind of has trouble sticking with blocks for a long time or making room on the blocks. So as long as they got a hat on a hat and they're kind of in the vicinity, Woody Marks can make something happen. So I think this is going to be a really good changing the guard and really help the Texans offense moving forward. So it's going to be exciting to see. I'm pumped up for Woody Marks, even though I don't have him in a lot of places in fantasy, but really good stuff, man. Back to the Texans, the defense, though, 2025 edge pass rush win rates. This is via PFF, right? So the win rates in week 4, Myles Garrett, the highest at 34%, then Will Anderson, then Micah Parsons, then Danielle Hunter. So Texans are, that nightmare fuel just kind of doing their thing. You kind of got to see that happen in week 4, and they're going to try to make that continue to happen versus Cooper Rush and not Lamar Jackson. In case you guys didn't know, Lamar Jackson will most likely not be playing this week. I think he's already been on the verge of being ruled out. Lee can tell us what's going on with that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Not expecting Lamar Jackson to be here. So Lamar Jackson-led offense, Ravens offense, is a lot different than a Cooper Rush-led offense. When Cooper Rush faced the Houston Texans in 2024, which was last year without Dak, and he had CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Rush did really well in the fourth quarter in garbage time, but they still lost 34-10, and yeah, all of his stats came in basically the fourth quarter. And the Ravens don't have don't have CeeDee Lamb. They have Zay Flowers, who I think may have a decent game, but if Stingley's shadowing, then probably not. We'll see. To be determined, TBD, right? But yeah. And I mentioned it earlier, Ed Ingram, he's graded out very well in the run game in PFF as far as their offensive line goes. So I think he's been a big boost, giving Woody Marks easy gains. Then he can continue to turn his legs. And that's why we saw them have success. The Texans weren't behind the sticks a lot. They were only sacked twice. CJ Stroud was only sacked twice in this game. Texans defense is only allowed per drive, entering week 5, going into this coming week, they won't on average 1.21 points allowed, which is top notch. Texans, Seahawks, Broncos, Vikings, Jaguars, Niners. That's the list. Texans leading that in that category. And they're just dogs out there. They're first in points allowed per game. They're 5th in total yards allowed per game, 7th in passing yards allowed per game. So the defense is, really doing its job. And like I said, with Woody Marks here, hopefully things can kind of get, turned around a little bit. And now they're facing a 1-3 team who's struggling. They have a ton of injuries. Let me see if I can bring up their injury report from today. Here it is, Adam Schefter. And it's just like riddled with, the whole squad, basically. Let's see if I can pull this up. Here we are. So, yeah, there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 16 guys on the injury report. Most of them did not practice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 of them were limited. So, pretty tough. Awuzie, Hamilton, Humphrey, Lamar. Obviously, it's a big one. Travis Jones, that's going to be great for he was limited, but if he misses, that's going to be great for the run. A lot of these guys on defense, they're starting center, Linderbaum, limited. Ricard still not practicing. Roquan Smith, unfortunately, is going to be out for some time. Got him in IDP leagues. So, yeah, the Kyle Van Noy. Nobody cares about Devontae Walker. Nate Wiggins, though. So you got, I know it's Wednesday. We'll see how this changes to Thursday. But a lot of these DNPs are not good. You'd like to see them at least in some sort of limited capacity, that may be trending towards playing. But you will see if these DNPs turn into limiteds on Thursday. But if you see another DNP next to their name going this way, chances are they're not going to make it. I did hear something somewhere that Lamar was going to maybe try to go this game, which is, I get it. Maybe, both teams are 1-3. Only 12 teams since 1990 have made the playoffs, and that's only 7%. So this is a pretty big game. It's win or go home. And I think the Texans should treat this one like the way they were the way the game was treated last week. The season's basically over if they don't beat Tennessee. This is almost identical. If you don't have Lamar Jackson playing, you don't have a lot of the starters on defense playing for Baltimore. This feels like another game where the Texans can put up points and their defense can shut the other team out. You get taken care of, and then you can go on to your bye week 2-3, feeling a lot better about your season. Texans, though, historically have struggled in Baltimore mightily and struggled mightily versus the Ravens, period. However, this would be the first time that they don't face Lamar Jackson, if that is the case. Yo, what's up, Crooked Commish, my boy? Anthony, what's going on, man? What is good, brother? Thanks for popping in. We're just chit-chatting. Covered a lot of stuff. I think everybody knows what's up with fantasy. You start Nico Collins this week. Fire up Woody Marks. You got him. Activate him off of your taxi squad like I did in a league where I'm 4-0 and put him into your lineup. Yeah, we definitely, this is, like I said, historically, I don't think we've ever, especially in the DeMeco Ryans era, we just been obliterated by Baltimore. And I know this because my niece, my 25-year-old niece, my sister's daughter, is a Ravens fan because her boyfriend is a Ravens fan. And they let me know every freaking year. So hopefully we can take care of business. Got to travel. Texans, the defense has traveled. Like I said, they allowed 14 points versus the Rams in LA, lost that game in the last few seconds when the Rams were able to go up and put up a touchdown. Tampa Bay held them to 20. Also, same thing, Baker Mayfield going for it on fourth down, scrambles, extends the drive, leaves Texans a very little bit of time and scores a touchdown to win 20-19 in that one. Jacksonville also holding them to under 10 points going into 4 minutes left in the game until Nico Collins fumbles. Then CJ Gardner-Johnson gives up a huge play. And then Jacksonville eventually goes on to score and win that one with no time left, 17-10. So I think that tough breaks, a couple of turnovers here, this way or that way. Texans could be at least 2-2, right, going into this week. But, you could argue they could be an ugly 4-0, but, I'd rather not have that. 1-3 builds a lot of character. Let's see if they can bounce back and be part of that 7% or make that statistic go up. But, if you head into the bye week 2-3, that's really darn good considering the way that things started off. And then you have a week to get right, implement all the rookies, moving forward, see where you are with injuries, things of that nature. We do know that Joe Mixon may never play football for the Houston Texans this season, so Woody Marks, fire him up. Nick Chubb doesn't have the juice. He's an RB2 desperation flex play maybe because Baltimore's defense is pretty shitty. Not going to lie to you, 32nd ranked defense in the league right now. This last week was the first time that they did not score over 30 points. We were held to 20 by Kansas City. Kansas City's defense is not as great as the Texans, but still a really good defense, I believe. And then the Kansas City offense has been putrid all season, was able to put up a lot of points and look really good this last week. So this is definitely I heard Jim Harbaugh saying it was kind of a get-right game for them, but this is I think that was before he knew about all the injuries he was going to be faced with this week. I think that quote was from yesterday. But he did mention that, they're going to try to have Lamar go, and if he does go, then if he does go for fantasy, that's really scary. Really, really scary. I don't know if he get pulled from a game, especially versus that defense. I think either way, you better make a contingency plan, and already have made a plan either for another quarterback off streamers or Cooper Rush in a Superflex dynasty. Somebody asked me what I was willing to trade Cooper Rush for, and I had him because I had Dak as my quarterback. Cooper Rush has been on my roster because he was Dak's backup. So I don't know what I trade him away for in that league. I guess I'll talk to that guy tomorrow or later tonight. But it is October 1st, so I'm going to do one of the first nights of the 31 nights of Halloween. I'm going to try to get a movie in here in a little bit. See what happens there. Might start off something light, something the wife wants to watch, or we may just go like old school slasher. I did put up a new design or a couple new designs on the Neon Peacock merch website. Forgot to mention that. Haven't run a promo or anything. Just been talking football. Had covered 2 weeks before we, preview this other one, but here we are. So just a real quick share screen so you guys can see. Whoops, not that tab. Not that tab. Here we go. This one. Look at that. Look at that bestseller right there. Crooked Commish, still up on the top with the rest of the GW and stuff. I ordered an allegedly shirt this past week, so that's probably why I jumped into the top 4. But Stabby Road, a new one here. There it is. Stabby Road, available in black. Go ahead and check that out. And then I did add this one as well, Live, Laugh, Lacerate. You got a cool ghost face. So maybe we'll do Scream. I've seen Scream like a gajillion times, so maybe we won't do Scream tonight. Figure it out. But and then I got some of these cool ones. I did order this one. I have some skeleton pants, and I'm going to probably wear this shirt with those pants. So I made it available in multiple colors, but it looks best in black. And same thing with the Heart of Gold with the ribcage over here as well. But my daughter wanted a Harry Styles shirt. You can just ignore that. We got a new Wake Your Game Up design. Really cool, really trippy. And then what else we got? Focus. You got to stay focused. And more Halloween stuff as well. And then I got my old college. I'm going to the football game this weekend. I got tickets to watch the inaugural season here. They lost last week, actually. So they're 4-1, surprisingly. And it was a conference game on the road. So hopefully they don't get creamed this week and we can see some good football in person. But yeah, hey, what's up, Chase? Yeah, the Ravens kind of have fallen off, even with Lamar at the helm. So it's been interesting to say the least. But yeah. Dead Inside, Big Ween Energy. Go ahead and check those out. I ordered myself a Big Ween Energy shirt. If you're a fan of Ear to the Streets, you got the Ear to the Streets right here in the Mad TV type of deal. This one, very popular shirt right here, Survival of the Healthiest, because everybody is dying right now in fantasy football. So yeah, you get that inactive players out notification like we all did today with Trey Benson and multiple other players, Lamar Baker even showing up on the injury report. So very popular design right here, GWN, little stuff everywhere, little tidbits. You got the bloody font and the heart monitor stuff in the background now. And this guy's on fire, bro. He's on fire because that's how you feel when you get that alert. You literally feel like this guy when your star player, you get that alert that he is he's questionable or out or placed on the IR. All of a sudden, Trey Benson in the West Side League. Why? Yeah. Gotta love it, man. Gotta love fantasy football, honestly. But yeah, head on over to neonpeacockmerch.com. Type your name in or your email address in to the prompt when it shows up, and then you get notifications when the sales happen. But if you'd really like to support me, you can buy a shirt at regular base cost. I think it's like $22 or whatever it is. And more portions of those proceeds go to the artist and help support shows like the one you're watching right here on the GWN network. So appreciate y'all for doing that. go check out neonpeacockmerch.com. Plenty of cool stuff, plenty of designs dropping daily. I think I've dropped about 2 designs a day on average since last week. So busy guy. Like, let's see, all of these are new. I think, let's see, Hogan passed away a couple of weeks ago. So then we did Bones, we did the same 24. And if you guys want, let's say you're like, oh, everything's scattered. You go over here to the side and you go to collections. And then you can like find Gemmo the Icon. You can find football merch, Cosmic Cyber Skulls, Simpsons characters. And then you click like Halloween. And then all the Halloween stuff's under like one category. Oh, yeah, these are some old ones I totally forgot about. We got the Halloween designs. Halloween. Got some Stranger Things. Scary Jerry, of course. Ozzy Osbourne, the Bong Rip shirt, Skeletor, and then some of the other stuff I've done in the past that I just totally forgot was on the website. But go ahead and check all that stuff out, guys. Halloween, plenty of time to order if you're into Halloween like I am. Plenty of time. This stuff usually comes in within a week. So, yeah. All right, back to football. Sorry about that. Had to plug a show. Appreciate you guys. All right. Where was I? I need to get a little drink. Let's take a 30-second breather and watch this cool little video. Boom. And just like that, I got an email saying that my Neon Peacock order has shipped. So should see it in a couple of days. I'm excited for that. Get to wear some new Halloween shirts. Sweet. All right. Back to the task at hand. I think I kind of covered a lot of it. We were talking about the injury report, talked about both teams being what they are, which is not very good, at least by what the records say, right? Let's see. What else do I got? Going down the list, talked about Woody Marks. Let's talk about the Texans injuries. There we go, which is where I had started with originally, but I was like, no, let's go back in time, and now we're ending here. So great stuff. So for this game in particular, Texans fairly healthy, and actually kind of have been, knock on wood, except for obviously Joe Mixon, right? But Nico Collins was limited. I think that's just going to be his it's going to be his Wednesday kind of thing going forward if he does feel a little bit banged up from time to time. Jalen Reed has made it back. He was activated, if you remember that rookie safety. And now with C.J. Gardner-Johnson gone, they can bring him in. So I think they kind of like the way that played out. Just go ahead and release him. We have a pick here, whatever. It didn't work out, right? I guess no skin off our back or whatever they want to say. So Derek Stingley did not play with that oblique that he's been dealing with since week 1. I'm thinking this is more of a veterans rest day as well. They didn't mention it as rest like they did with Will Anderson here because he got a rest day, veterans rest day. But I'm pretty sure that if they have a minor injury, they'll just go ahead and instead of putting it rest, they'll just air it on the side of, okay, this guy's, we're calling it injury. That way, you have your bases covered. I think, I don't know if it was last year, there was an issue at one point or another when they didn't disclose. And these guys are mandated by the league to disclose every injury. So if you have to list something, you're going to list it there. Will Anderson getting the rest day, though. Harrison Bryant, the tight end, limited with the shoulder. We need all the tight ends we can get. We had like 40 tight ends at one point, and then they're just all injured. So, and then Fatukasi didn't practice with his shoulder. I would like to see him in there. Danico Autry activated off of the, I don't know if he was on the PUP or the IR or whatever it is, but we will get to see him in some sort of capacity. It looks like he's going to be limited and then trending towards eventually getting a full by the time Friday rolls around. And that's what I anticipate with these guys who are limited as well. The did not practices, we'll just keep an eye tomorrow, but I don't anticipate those being anything crazy or special or whatever. And you got people in the chat over here asking if Joe Mixon's alive and if anybody cares or whatever, but it is what it is. But yeah, the Texans, they're back, baby. They are back. We're back. We are back after that hiatus. NeonPeacockMerch.com, ladies and gentlemen. What else do I got for you? Nothing crazy. Nothing new. Let me see. No, we went over that. Woody Marks is the thing. We talked about him extensively. Yeah, I think this is going to be it, guys. We put a little bow on it. I do got some drops on the H-Town Huddle that I don't have on the other ones, like this one. Yeah, for Fergie's son, who's actually been Jake Ferguson, Dallas Cowboy tight end. If you're in a tight end premium league, oh my gosh, just picked him up off waivers for that CeeDee Lamb injury. He's been glorious for my fantasy football team in the home league. So, yeah, enjoying that. And then, of course, Joe Mixon on the IR. Sir Mix-a-Lot, he likes touchdowns, and he cannot lie. I think if we had him for those first 4 weeks, we probably found the end zone. Or if, Kaylee would have gotten his head out of his ass and just used the rookies, out of the gate in week 1, I don't know. Maybe they thought, like, you don't want to have a big rookie mistake or a fumble or a missed assignment that leads to a turnover or whatever it is. And they were in close games, so kind of get the logic there. Probably wouldn't be questioning it if they had come up with wins, right? Everything goes under a microscope when you're not winning. So it is what it is there. But let me see if I have any other ones. I think I got these are all the drops I have that were different than what we usually got on the GWN network. Woody likes big butts. Yeah, we'll get a you got a friend in me, or there's a snake in my boot. I'm sure there's tons of Toy Story drops that we can use without getting in trouble, I think. I think. Oh, there you go. Lamar, a no-go for the time being, 2 to 3 weeks. He's week to week. Yeah, and that's because earlier I had heard day to day, but that's crazy talk. This seems more in line or more realistic with what Lee's saying, especially if it's a hamstring. Although I did see the play or looked at the play in review. He's kind of like jab stepping, and so I don't know, his hamstring kind of had like a jab motion instead of the other way. So it's kind of weird. Normally you see somebody like pull up and grab it while they're running, but his was kind of in a stop and push back motion. So it may be more of like a glute situation. I don't know. If it's Lamar though, you don't want to jeopardize the entire season, but this is a pivotal game. So we'll see a little bit more tomorrow. I also don't hope that it turns out to be one of these, like, he doesn't practice all week and then he's going to go on Sunday. If that's the case, man, I'm still really scared about it. I probably would not start Lamar either way against the Texans defense. They are the number 2 defense versus quarterbacks for fantasy. So not good, right? And they played pretty decent quarterbacks. They played Baker Mayfield. They played Matt Stafford. Never Lawrence doesn't count. Neither does Cam Ward, but the numbers were already pretty good those first 2 weeks, just saying. And the defense appears to be firing and humming and looking a lot better. So it is what it is. There you go. Jackson's already ruled out, if I remember correctly, and they're estimating at least a few weeks. I'm saying he's not coming back until after their bye week. Fudge. There you have it, folks. Hey, we get to talk a little bit of fantasy. I know today was a big injury date, and we kind of didn't have a rundown. We did it yesterday, and then we get a little more news today, and then we'll talk about it on our Thursday night pregame stuff in the watch party with the GWN network. But yeah, I think I kind of did hit on most of the injuries throughout the league today. Let me just go through some sleeper news for y'all and see what I got here. Oh yeah, here's a piece of news. I forgot about that. The NFL will be reviewing Azeez Al-Shire's hit on Cam Ward for possible fine or discipline via Jay Fowler at ESPN. So he says that this feels more like a fine than a suspension, even though Azeez has been a repeat offender. Repeat offender for hitting quarterbacks when they're not sliding? I don't know about that. League is soft. Play football. Let these guys play. We need more guys like Azeez Al-Shire out there just knocking the shit out of people. Like, that's what we came here to. That's what people pay to see, right? When we come run flag football, I'd be playing flag football out there instead of being semi-retired or whatever. Although, if anybody's out there listening, got a flag football league in my area, you want to hit me up, I'm available on just Wednesday nights. Like tonight. And the weekends. All right. Let's see. Oh, yeah. More sleeper news. Let's see. Anything of note, of merit? Oh, saw that one. Cole Popovich, the Texans O-line coach. Yeah, the running games looked a little bit better, even though the offensive line isn't great. So it's pretty crazy, considering they've done it with Nick Chubb and with Woody Marks. A lot of times Joe Mixon was just kind of creating last year. So the Texans offense when using motion in 2025 so far, 133 total plays with motion. That's 23rd, but that's plus 0.11 EPA per play. Eighth ranks, rush 7th. QB pressure is 18th. Houston has started to lean into the motion a little bit more, as they should have. Let's see. That's being top 10 in total plays with motion, using 67% on their plays. So that's good. They're starting to use motion. That's 67% now. I think the number was somewhere in like the 30s in the first couple of weeks. So just doing some things. I did talk about that Jeffrey Simmons sack, probably the fastest sack in NFL history. It was crazy. Let's see. Here's the offensive guard. They signed Jarrett Kingston from the Panthers practice squad. So he was UFC Trojan and a 6th round pick by the Niners in 2024. So Bogart, you guys would probably be familiar with this guy. What's his name? I just said it. Jarrett Kingston. Anyways, that's some offensive line depth since they traded away Cam Robinson, I believe. Here's a good one. Here's some hype. This came out a couple days ago. Texans have allowed pressure rates. This is the offensive line. Below 39% in 3 straight regular season games for the first time since weeks 3 to 5 of 2023, which is 2 years ago. So as a unit, they've improved game by game. In week 2, they were 37%. Quarterback pressures. Week 3, 33%. Week 4, 28%. So legitimate improvement every week. Obviously, the level of defense, it'll probably continue, right? If it stays or it hovers in the high 20s this next week, or it gets even lower and CJ Stroud sees even less pressure, then we know that the offense is really improving, and or the combination of the Baltimore Ravens and Tennessee Titans being ass cheeks. On defense. And in the case of Tennessee, on offense as well. Shutout. First time they shut out anybody since, over a decade. CJ Stroud dropped back versus the Tennessee Titans in week 4. He looked really good. He only got sacked twice. I already talked about Danico Autry and Jalen Reed coming back for their practice window. They were both limited today's sessions. CJ Stroud has been pressured on just 34.5% of his dropbacks this season, which is the lowest of his career and currently 17th in the NFL. Why am I freaked out by this stat? But the reason is probably because, the quick passes that doesn't really involve the offensive line and stuff like that, the screens and getting the ball out quick. So, but the offensive line has gotten a little bit better. I'm not ready to just be like, whoa, this is the best offensive line he's ever had or he's had in his career, but the numbers are showing. It's still early and it's small sample size, but we're getting there. And there it is. Ed Ingram is the highest rated offensive guard in the NFL through 4 weeks. And so having him back for the last 2 has been really great. Ingram in his first in his overall grade, at 85.6. And then the next closest is at a 76.3 in the run blocking grade. So, in his overall grade. And then the run blocking grade, he's a 90.6, and the next closest is 82.3. So this is PFF, right? I know it's like grades and they grade on whatever the hell, but still nobody even close as far as that goes. So having him in the lineup and inserted and in the right spot, and then having everybody else in the right spots makes a big difference for the Houston Texans. All that just to say that, hey, there's some hope, and there's hope that the offensive line can continue to get better, which means that the Texans offense can be better, putting up more points, which means that more players can get involved, which means we have more fantasy assets to choose from. So at this moment, though, I did talk about Christian Kirk. I think he had like 8 targets, only connected on 3 for minimal yardage. The targets are there, though. Just not connecting. I think that CJ's slowly starting to get rapport with Higgins, which is good because he's another big-bodied Nico Collins type receiver. And you can get him going. It's really good. You saw him score a touchdown in this last game. It was really good on just basically beating his man. They saw a mismatch lined up in on the top of the screen, which would be in the right hand of the formation. And he just beat his guy right off the bat. CJ saw it, hit him, got it to him, in stride, and it was a touchdown. So I believe it was like a 20-some yarder. Quick striker, really nice. Really love to see that from the rookie. So the rookie's getting involved. Rookies totaled 3 of the 3 Texans touchdowns. So really good to see that. Kaimi Fairbairn missed the kick. Normally doesn't do that, but he did hit 3 other field goals to put the Texans up 9-0 at one point. And then, like I said, right before the third quarter, CJ connecting with Nico Collins down the sideline kind of opened up the floodgates for the offense and really got them going, got Woody Marks going, or Woody Marks got going and then got the offense going. How about that? So I think if they can continue to run the football well, lean on Woody Marks, use him to really open things up. The guy has juice, can really squeeze through some holes. There's a play. Let me see if I can find it on YouTube. Man, it's like an all 22 breakdown angle. And so what happens is his lineman is engaged with a defender, and there's not a lot of room to go anywhere. And he somehow splits the lineman and the defender, squirts through, and falls forward for, I don't know, like 4 more yards or something like that, which is just wild to me. Here you go. I think I found it. Star is Born, Woody Marks. This is Saturday Morning Inspection, just to give the man his flowers. This guy does really good. All 22 film review. He was taught by one of his coaches. Just telling him how to break stuff down. Is this the run? Yes. So let's do this. And just so you can see it, because it's wild. And you'll notice it's Ed Ingram up here, basically doing his thing in the run block. He's already 3 or 4 yards down the line of scrimmage, and you can see where he is relative to the rest of the linemen. And then anyways, Woody Marks does his thing and kind of squirts through, but let's do a screen share really quick with the sound off so you guys can see this. It's really interesting stuff. This is how I know Woody Marks isn't going to be a fluke. This is how I know he's got what it takes, man. So you see that right there. Boom. Like how do you do that? Just look at this. Amazing. Amazing how he was able to squirt through there and then still get a couple of yards. I think that the lineman was called for a hold on this regardless, but look at this. Who does that? That's just great to see. Look at that. Where does he get hit? He falls 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He gets like 5 or 6 more yards after this contact here. Watch that. How? Just amazing, amazing work by Woody Marks on a lot of this stuff. He finishes runs really hard. He falls forward. Watch this contact. See how he squirts through. Look, there's hardly any room for him to work here. Look at Christian Kirk trying to find somebody to block. He's just kind of getting in the way, and boom, squeezes through that, gets sideways, gets small, and then falls forward, spins in contact and falls forward. So he's not getting pushed back. He's finishing all his runs really, really hard. Gotta love Woody Marks finishing his runs hard. Pause. This guy's he's going to be great. He is going to be really, really good for this team. What's this one? Watch this patience. Outside. Defender's about to make a cut here, make a decision. Defender's about to make a cut and make a decision. He cuts it back inside, spins over, falls forward, gets more yards. Woody Marks, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to be a star. If he isn't, I wish I had more Woody Marks. See how he, and Aikman and those guys probably don't hear themselves. I don't even hear myself when I'm saying these things. It's going to be so fun this season if he can continue to do this stuff. If the Texans offense, and I think that they'll work in tandem. The offensive line will start to get some confidence and run. And if you can do that and lean on people, then you can start to play action. Your pass blocking gets better. We've seen the Texans do this in the past as well. Offensive line was in shambles, rotating all over the place with injuries last year. And then they finally kind of got it together. And hey, they got on a little streak and looked good. And then they had some games where their offensive line just got completely destroyed by good defenses. So we'll see how it goes, right? But it's just good to have a win in the win column, a dub in the win column, and carry some momentum over. Hopefully beat down on a bad Baltimore team that's completely decimated by injuries right now, and then just take care of business. Number 2 overall defense in the league right now, if I'm not mistaken. Number 2 versus fantasy quarterback, so I don't expect Cooper Rush to have a big game. I think I'm going to trade Cooper Cut. The guy wants a 4th-round pick. Like, I'm just going to give him to him. That's in a league I don't even care about anyway. I'm in first place, haven't lost in like 2 years, so go ahead and have Cooper Rush. I can turn that 4th-round pick into a Woody Marks. Probably not. But yeah, folks, here we are. What is up? Stay tuned live, my peeps. What is going on? I've been so busy. I have not been able to hop on any of your YouTube stuff. I apologize, but we'll get there. It's been a wild couple of weeks. But and even this weekend, I got a lot of stuff planned, a lot of stuff going on. No rest for the wicked, folks. But it is October. It's my favorite month. Holiday season kind of thing going on. So we're doing that. We're getting there. Yeah, I think that's about it for today. I talked about basically everything I needed to as far as stats, lineups, who we're talking with, who we're going with. There's a Woody Marks interview that just popped up on my phone. I'm gonna go ahead and watch that and see what he has to say. And yeah, in case you guys didn't know, Woody, because he liked Toy Story as a kid, right? His name is Jaquarius or I think it's Jaquavius. Sorry, Woody. But Woody's a lot easier to pronounce. Yeah, just saying. So on that note, everybody, next Wednesday night should be, we'll be heading into bye week, actually, so there won't be anything to preview going in forward. So maybe we'll just do a recap, if anything, next Wednesday. And we'll talk about some other fantasy questions you guys might have. Maybe we'll do like a injury report, breakdown or something across the league, or bye week breakdown or something like that. Since I took the last week off already, so I don't want to miss too many weeks in a row. We're going to keep this going Wednesdays around 9:30 Central Time. For those of you in the Central area, 2 hours back if you're on the West Coast, 1 hour forward. On the East Coast, sorry, Derek, you can watch the replay. Probably already asleep over there in Jersey, brother. But everybody else across the nation, the millions watching around the world, appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing up and showing out on the H-Town Huddle. Go Vaqueros, UTRGV this weekend, taking on Houston Christian. I will be at the game live Saturday night. You can catch that on ESPN+. And the stadium's like 20 minutes from here, so really nice stadium, Vacker Stadium. Maybe I'll take some clips, or I'll send something out on live on Saturday or something, so you guys can check that out, or post it on YouTube so you can just catch the college game day atmosphere that is the UTRGV Vaqueros. Man, it's been a long day. All right, appreciate everybody. We will catch you guys next time. And just remember that you cannot spell peacock without.
It's special. We saw that practice. We practiced off this weekend. Hey, them boys are tired. Let's keep it up this week, man. Texans!
with it, baby. Yeah, I gotta watch my back because these niggas crazy. Henny, Remy, shorty, I've been mixing liquor lately. So you know that my excuse is that the liquor made me suck my dick and pay me, pay me, pay me, pay me, pay me. Call her, she don't call back like, damn. And my brother's always busy. That's why shorty fucking with me. She the only one that give me. Yeah. And I rolled this here for 2. I just hop up in the whip. I hit up 6. She smoke it with me. Little bitch.